Yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Works Up Front. Here for my first actual video on my channel, and I just wanted to start with a topic that I have knowledge on and I'm comfortable on speaking because it's just gonna be easier for me. As you could have guessed, it's of course on Liverpool Football Club. As you can see in the background on my jacket, just my favorite team of all time on earth. Like, I wouldn't say I could, you know, I wouldn't do it. But anyways, it's just a team that brought me so much joy, so much life over the years. Also so much stress, anger, like all the different kind of emotions, but mostly joy. It is an escape from reality for me. Watching Liverpool, it's where I feel the most alive or the most in moment. It's like the most present I am. But it's like that for most sports. But yeah, Liverpool is the team I've watched growing up, and that actually made me enjoy sports. So I wanted to speak on them to start my journey here. Basically, this week we are rolling onto the international break, which I don't really enjoy unless it's a big competition like the Euros or the World Cups or things like that. But those friendlies, even the qualifiers, I don't really enjoy them. Mostly because players of my team gets injured and misses our game, which, well, I wouldn't say are more important because all players enjoy playing for their country, but it's just more of a club game. Anyways, opinions differs on this. It's just mine. Not that I hate it, I just don't enjoy it. But I'll still watch the games because that's what I do. So yeah, I'm just beating around the bush. Let's just get started on Liverpool. I just wanted to touch on the Brighton game from this past Saturday first. I don't know why I could sense the defeat coming or a draw, not just because of the time of the game. Like, Liverpool in general don't really play well at, well, which times should I be using? Because I live in North America and the games are at 6:30 a.m. for me, but I know it's noon 30 in the UK. So I'll just save the early game. The first game on a Saturday, the midday game. Liverpool don't really play well. I don't know if just because of the time, you don't have proper breakfast or whatsoever, and also because it was after a Champions League game, a midweek game. Yeah, it's been like that for a minute, except for about 2 to 3 years under Jurgen. But yeah, as far as I can remember, the first game on a Saturday is not really good. I guess they're still sleepy and so on, but anyways, that's not an excuse. They're pros, they're professionals, so they should be at it. Like, there's no excuses. But yeah, even with all those, like, the game was awful to watch. Like, it's like they don't show up at all, and they look completely different to the team who beat Galatasaray 4-0 on Wednesday. But that's how the season has been so far. There's no consistency. Mostly awful football, boring, looking toothless, looking like not gonna score at all. But there were a few games where they showed up and it's like they're the best team right now, and no one could beat them. For example, the Galatasaray game or the game against Madrid in the league phase, or the game against Arsenal. You could say it's a Dominic Superstar free kick, but Arsenal didn't have much either. Those are the main two I could remember. There were a couple more, but yeah, not many. But what this shows is the quality is there, but we don't know what's happening. I wasn't going to show any stats, but I'm just gonna do it. There we go. Let me know if you can. Whoops. There we go. So just some quick stats for this game. As you can see, the attacking momentum right here, this is nothing, because I was watching the game, it was like mostly sterile possession, and there was not much. It wasn't good attack, from what I can say. And then this scored. Once they scored, we had good pressure. This was pretty good. We came back, and then it was all Brighton again. We had nothing. This one was the Curtis Jones shot, but it was a poor shot from his left foot, not his best foot. But it was a good creation, like good attacking phase. But yeah, other than that, there was nothing. And even the goal was kind of genius. I think it was a pass from Mama directly to Kyrgios, or from one of the center backs, Van Dijk or Konate, long ball in behind, and Kyrgios just profited of that error from Lewis Dunk, and yeah, it was just class. But other than that, there was nothing. And the XG proves it. Like, we scored one goal, it's like on point, and even big chances. The only big chances we created was the goal, and that's it. They've really deserved it. They had more shots, and they ran more than us. I think they ran. I don't have the stats here, but they ran about 2-3 kilometers more than us combined. We had more touches in our box. See, the only goal we scored was because of an error on Brighton's side. If not, there was nothing. Zero. Passes in the final third. But that doesn't mean anything. Because passes in the final third, it's pretty even though they have less. But it doesn't mean anything, because Brighton had more passes in our box, which is in the final third. But we could have more passes outside the box, which is how it was. Basically, this for an example as the pitch. Brighton, this is the final third, right? But Brighton had more passes here compared to us. We had more passes in the final third. It was more around here, just recycling the ball without creating anything. So that's not good, that's poor. And that's how we've been all year. We've had possession. I think we have the most possession in the league, but it's mostly around here. Not because other teams are playing low blocks. They're playing low blocks because they know we don't have creativity. They know all we do is passing around here because for some reason we are afraid of using the wings and crossing. We only tend to come inside. Oops, pause. We only tend to we only tend to get inside and try to shoot or get in the box, but yeah, the only player that I see using the width is mostly Rio. We tried doing that with Salah for most part. We've picked Salah right here, but that decreased Salah's numbers massively. That being said, for this game, that's another thing I wanted to show. Look at the difference from the first half. First half, we were on them, but they were all pull shots. And the only chance again was a goal. But if you look at the second half, they were on us completely. They deserved to win. Nothing else to say. Yeah, but another thing I wanted to mention, we did have a few injuries. Ekitike had a dead leg and left the game at minute 8, and without him we don't have a striker. We ended up having to play Gakpo as number 9, which was a mess. Gakpo is not the same Gakpo anymore. I think we are relying on him too much. Last year we had Luis Diaz, with whom we could swap him, and he would show up and score his one goal by cutting inside and shooting. But this year it's only him, there's no one else, and Slot is avoiding Rio for some reason, so we're stuck with Cody right now. And it's not that I don't like Cody, I enjoy watching him, his numbers are good, but he isn't creative. Like, we need to use him differently. Cody can drive forward with a ball. He knows how to protect the ball and get free kicks. But he shouldn't be the main man. He's not the main man. You know what I'm saying? He would be a good, really good squad player. He would start in any other team, but for us, we need someone better or someone to complement him. He just shouldn't be the main man, in my opinion, but he does a lot of work. I do miss Lucias though, also. Yeah. And that being said, we did have many injuries. Ali was out, Salah was out, Isaac has been out, so it does not really count. Haven't been able to use Isaac properly. This dude looked decent, Leone, on his first game, but unfortunately got injured. And there's the Warrior in Waterwendo, and Kono is just injury prone at this point. But even this team on paper is good enough to beat Brighton. For some reason they couldn't do it. And yeah, that was the stats part that I wanted to focus on. And now moving on to the next thing, it's mostly how the season has been. Season has been like that pretty much all year now. Some other stats, which is crazy to think about how we used to play. We have been outrun by the opponents in 27 games out of 31 in the league. So we only ran more in 4 games, which is not Liverpool standard. We are a team that runs and run and run. And that's something I wanted to point. It's a good transition right now, but I wanted to hold it because I do have a few stats more. I should just do a transition. It's a good transition. This was supposed to be a transition season for us. But this transition season was supposed to be last year, but we somehow ended up winning the league, you know? Like, if we were having the exact same season last year, all Liverpool fans would take it. Of course, we wouldn't be happy because we aren't winning or we aren't playing good football, but it would have been Slot's first year, adapting to a league, and so on, you know? There would have been many different excuses that we could have used. Um, well, unfortunately for him, he won us the league last year, and that's where the pressure comes in. But at the same time, that's the same reason why he is still our coach right now. So yeah, about the transition season, we did spend a lot, but we did sell many players as well. And most of the new players that we got have all been injured and out of a team for many different parts of a season. I know I'm sounding like Slot excuses, but it do be difficult first to build the team chemistry when all the players are new. Two, players coming from different leagues needs time to adapt, and if they are injured, they can't adapt, like, you know. And now, if not all of them are here available and they were supposed to play together, it's even harder to get that chemistry going, you know. For example, a player like Florian Wirtz, absolute gem of a player. What a talent! What a guy! What a bowler! He's creative AF, and his first few games we could see the talent. Like, we can see the talent, but we could also see that he was not up to speed. You know, some of his passes were not, good enough, or it was too short, not enough on it, on the ball, a bit sloppy and casual. But now it is different. Of course, there's still more room for him to improve, and he's only 22 or 23. But he's already improved massively. He's more at it during the games now. He can take the physicality of the Premier League as well, and how rapid it is. That was one. Even Hugo Ekitike, who hit the ground running by scoring, but we can see he's out of stamina by minute 60, 65. Like, he can't run more. He cannot play 90 minutes at this moment in time, and with Isaac being out and Gakpo our only other striker, he has to play every game as well, but we cannot play him. We need to rotate with the amount of games that LFC plays, So that was a big change, and that's one of the reasons that could explain the season we are having. Transition season, many changes, many new keys, new players, injuries not helping that. Players needed time to adapt. Those players have the quality to be a great team together. It's just that it needs time. They needed this season. This team will be miles better next year, with or without Slot. I'll talk about that. In my opinion, we should let him go, but I'll get to that soon. Talking about the transition season, the way we are playing, there were signs about that last year as well, but those signs were masked. Maybe a few people saw it. We saw it more after the league was decided, probably because we played more relaxed. That could be one of the reasons. But even during the season, we could see some sloppiness. But they were masked, they were hidden. Like, probably some people who are good at analyzing games, even the coach couldn't see it, I would say. It's the pace in front that we lost. Those three guys mainly. Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, and Diogo Jota. Rest in peace, Diogo. Sorry, I get emotional whenever I talk about Diogo. What a player he was. Unfortunate situation. I need to get back on track. So yeah, what I was saying is, those three players were hard workers. And they had pace. They were running. You know, when I mentioned that we were outrun in 27 games out of 31, guess who? Who are the players who are running that much? Because it's the same midfield. It's the same Alexis McAllister, the same Dominic Szoboszlai, the same Ryan Gravenberch, the same Curtis Jones in midfield. But in front, all the front players got changed, except Mo Salah. See where I'm going? As much as Darwin Núñez frustrated us, he was a hard worker, and most Liverpool fans adored him for that reason. He was running and running and running and running. He couldn't stop running. And that's why we kept on giving him his chances, even if we got frustrated, angry when he misses that empty netter or the easiest chances, but then he would score bangers. But if we forget the goals or the misses, something that he never missed on was working hard, was running. And the same for Luis Diaz. And we could see the drop-off on the left wing with Luis Diaz and Cody Gakpo. I'm not saying Gakpo don't run. Gakpo probably one of the guys who runs the most in the team, but he's not the same level as Luis Diaz. He does have good ball protection, but Luis Diaz was doing more. And Luis Diaz was scoring. And needless to say on Diogo, he was like a Darwin who would run and run and run. But at the same time, that could be the mindset that was instilled in them by Jurgen. And we lost that a little bit this year. So it's just the stamina and the work ethic. I'm not saying that those players that we have don't work hard. It's just that they can't run. They don't have the stamina to do what those three were doing last year. But they are really good players and great players that will only improve. But I don't think they can still run like a Darwin Núñez or a Luis Diaz. So we need someone new that can add a little bit of that, you know? Someone like a James Milner. Because Ekitike is really good. Technically, I love him. I actually adore him. It's my first season watching him, but because I mostly watch Liverpool, I don't really watch German football, even if I want Liverpool to buy most of our players from the German league, because they have character. So that's why I know the players like Jeremy Frimpong, Hugo Ekitike, and Flo will come up good eventually. We just need that small adapting time. But we do need a hard worker in the team. Like, all of them works hard, but you get what I'm saying, where I'm going. So basically the pace, the hard work was masking that sloppiness last year. You know, when we lost the ball, we could gegenpress, as Jurgen would say, and recover the ball. That's another reason. I know I'm just yapping without making a point. But the point is, we lost pace and hard work up front. Because the rest of the team are still the same, you know? And another thing that I've noticed is Arne Slot himself. He seems different to the person he was last year. I'm not talking as a coach. Well, I guess as a coach, but as a person. And the way he speaks. Last year, he was still showing emotions. You know, he got red carded twice. He got suspended different times. Like, he was like, you know, pretty much like a Jurgen, but a more controlled Jurgen. And the only time we saw that this season was the Galatasaray game, because his job was on the line. Maybe he really showed emotions, and that's the kind of person that we want. Like, this year he seemed colder, you know, he seemed distant from the fans, from the club. It's like, I don't know if he doesn't have an intention of staying or he's not giving his all. I cannot say that, but that's what the vibes are giving. That's what the looks are showing. You know, it shows that he's not giving it his all and he's distancing himself from us for whatever reason. Maybe he's being controlled, or maybe he just thought it's too easy to win the Premier League after doing it in his first year. But he looks a lot different compared to last year. Even the way he speaks in his conferences, he seemed to be a genuine good person, but the way he speaks now is very different. You know, one of the examples that I can think of is when he first came in, he was like, "Oh, the team won in the last 5 years. You know, one league in the last 5 years." Well, actually, when we won the league with him, he said 2 league titles in the last 5 years. And then this year, when things went south, it was 2 league titles in 30 years. Which is not wrong. Both are true, actually. That's what numbers do. You can use numbers you can use numbers for yourself and to tell a story, and that's what he did. But he could have dealt with it differently and better, and choosing better words, you know. And yeah, like that, there were many more comments this year. Of course, it's easier to pick on those comments when you're losing, when things go wrong. But it's right there. So those are a few reasons for the season that we are having. I do know that I've been yapping, but it's been a really poor season overall. Like, we've already lost 10 games in 31 league games, and we've drew 7. That means we've dropped point in 17 games. We've only won 14 games out of 31, just the league, and there's still 7 more games to go. The last time we lost 10 games in a season was 10 years ago, but that was 10 out of 38. Right now we are 10 in 31, and sadly, of course I don't want it to happen, but if the situation remains like it is, we could potentially be looking at 12, 13 league games, because we do have a difficult end of the season with playing the Chelsea, Man United, the Derby is left to play, then all those teams are in contention for the top 4, top 5, top 6 European spots. And if we're still in the Champions League and the FA Cup, yeah. And that being said, we are about, if my math is correct, we lost 14 games in 45 games, all competition, and the worst run was when we did 9 in 12 or 7 in a row. That was crazy. He could have been sacked twice this season. If he didn't won the league last year, he'd be sacked after that first run of 9 in 12. And even the current run is sackable. It's not that many defeats now, but many draws. Like 2 draws is more than 1 defeat, you know? That's my opinion. So, yeah, the numbers aren't looking great at all. And that being said, as bad as we have been, we are still fifth in the league. I know we shouldn't be happy with that, but top 5 is still achievable. But that also shows that there is talent in the squad, because the tactics we can't understand what Slot is trying to do this year. Per moments we can when we've been brilliant, but that's just like 4 or 5 games out of all those games, and the rest have been awful. There's no template, there's no pattern. It's only recycling the ball most of the time, just boring, toothless, dull football. And yeah, we are still fifth because, in my opinion, of the talents that we have in the team. Like, they can still win games, they know they are good. We just need better guidance, better coaching. That's it. And this team is miles better than whatever stats there is. I think Michael Owen said that on one of those BBC's shows recently, and he was made fun of, but I kind of agree with him. This team is way better than whatever stats are showing or whatever the table is reflecting. We can see that in the Champions League game. Of course, we lost the first game versus Galatasaray, but there is a pattern. It also goes back to that loss of pace that we've had. I know many teams in the Premier League are playing low blocks or focusing on set pieces and so on, but in the Champions League it's more free-flowing football now, but it's also slower football and less intensity. That could be different against PSG in 2 weeks, but up to now I've been saying that to my friends, but they keep saying I'm deluded. Of course I am deluded. Of course I'm delusional when it comes to Liverpool. Why not? Why will I not be? Because of what this team can do and of history. We've seen it times and times again, comebacks and so on. But my point is, and that's why we beat Madrid, that's why we beat Galatasaray in the Champions League, because the pace is lower, the intensity is less compared to a Premier League game, the physicality is less. Most players can win games with the technicalities because they're that good, they can handle it. And the Premier League, it's too physical, and it's a transition season, so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this team goes on and win the Champions League in May in Budapest. I wouldn't be, but that's the deluded me speaking right now. Moving on from that, yeah, I was saying, as bad as we've been, we're still fifth in the league. The league has been poor as well, and we should have been higher up based on the quality, but this team needs better coaching and better staff with a different mindset that knows the Liverpool way or can provide that Liverpool way. And yeah, where do we go from here? Well, I don't have a choice. If I had the choice, this is what I'd do. A few weeks ago, I was like, let's let be the man until the end of the season and then switch up. But this is not, I guess this is what the club will do. They won't sack Slot. He'll leave. If we don't win the Champions League, he'll leave on a mutual agreement at the end of the season. He deserves the send-off. He's been great for us, He won us the league at the end of the day. But right now, if we don't win the Champions League, we might not make it in the top 5 if things stays like they are. So, if I had the choice, I'd let him go during this international break. I'd bring in Steven Gerrard, Captain Fantastic. He bleeds Liverpool red. As a short term to ride the wave until the end of the season. What he can do, I'm not talking about his coaching abilities, but it's more about the mindset and showing the players what the Liverpool way is about, what this club is about, and bringing back that energy in midfield. That's what I think and believe he can do. And saving the top five, because top five is very feasible right now. It's in our hands. We are fifth and just 3 points. Well, we should have been 3 points behind Man United, but now we are fifth because of that loss. But we are 5 points behind because of that loss. But anyways, it's very much achievable because we still need to play those guys. And we have to play each other as well. You know, the United has to play Chelsea, Villa, so we'll be taking points off each other, which we can profit on. But the team do needs a change, and it needs it now before we get worse. We need someone who can bring the energy back, as I was saying. So that would be Stevie G for now, and then end of season. Personally, I want a Julian Nagelsmann. I just enjoy German coaches, and I think it'd be great for Florian Wirtz. I've been admiring Nagelsmann since his Hoffenheim days. I remember the game we played against Hoffenheim, Trent's first goal in the Champions League, the playoffs, was against his Nagelsmann's Hoffenheim. In 2018, if I'm not mistaken, and the guy was only 31, and he's young, he's only 38, you know, and he's already coached Leipzig, where they went to their first Champions League semi-final. They nearly won the league together. He went to Bayern, of course. At Bayern he'll be winning, which he did, and now he's the German coach. German talent hasn't been that great recently, but he's doing his best. A lot of people might not agree with this, but I think he'd be able to bring that gegenpressing back a little bit. He'll be really good for Florian Wirtz, being his German coach already, and they just have a different mindset, Germans, you know. It's like, they're fighters, they're hard workers. If not, Luis Enrique would be my second pick. He just plays good football. We've seen him. I've only watched PSG against Liverpool, but he's a great coach. He did it at Barca, he did it at PSG, and he did it in a different way. He brought that team mentality back, you know. He brought the vibes back. He got rid of those superstars, you know, like Mbappe and so on. Well, not got rid, he moved on from them to bring a more team connection, team chemistry, which worked out perfectly. They won the Champions League last year. He's a winner as well. So I don't know what his plans are at the end of the season. There were rumors that he was looking for a new challenge, probably in British football, but Pep is leaving as well, so could be silly. But if we don't, that would be my second choice. Third choice would be Xabi Alonso, because he knows the club already. He is a Liverpool fan as well. He would be able to bring that Liverpool way back. He plays decent football, great football actually. He had great numbers with Madrid as well. He had 72% win, like the win percentage was at 72%. He only left because of the ego of those big players at Madrid. But that's something I guess he can't really control, or he doesn't have a leadership yet, because it's only his second job, you know, after Leverkusen. But he'd be great for Florian Wirtz, Frimpong, and so on. I don't think that we have the players to play his type of football if he wants to play a three at the back or whatsoever, but he'd be a great pick. He's not old, but he's in his 40s compared to Nagelsmann. I think he's 9-10 years older, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, those would be my choices from 1, 2 to 3. And yeah, if I could, that's what I'd do. I'd let go now. But knowing the club, they won't sack him, at least not until the end of the season, and it won't even be a sack, it will be a mutual agreement, because he did win the league and he deserves a send-off, or he deserves to leave in a respectable manner. But if he somehow wins us the Champions League, he's going to be here next season as well. And if we do win the Champions League, next season is going to be lit, even in the slot. Because, anyways. Yeah, but if we do end up parting ways at the end of the season, I've already mentioned my top 3. I saw another German name that has been floating around, but it has to be one of those 3, in my opinion. So yeah, slightly younger video than what I'd thought. I wanted to keep it around 20 minutes mark, but I kept on yapping, and when I got a little bit comfortable, I just started talking, so this is it for now. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Let me know what you thought and what I could do differently next time, and yeah, if you don't agree, so be it, man. Just drop it in the comments. Let's have a conversation to why you don't agree with me, or what would be your opinion on what Liverpool should do, and why are we having the results and the season that we're having so far, yeah, so that's it for now. I'll see you soon. Peace out.